shut the fuck up!
Alright, so this is my first retro video game review, and it's going to be for Fire Emblems for the Game Boy Advance that came out in 2003. So whenever I was originally playing this game, I was playing it on my Retron 5 on my 65-inch, 4K TV. But for the review purposes, I'm just used the emulator and used cheat codes to get far enough to kind of show an accurate description of more what the game is. Now, I've never played any of the Fire Emblem games before, and I've kind of always wanted to. I was actually planning to get the new 3DS ones that were coming out, but whenever I found out that they had censored it, I refused to buy them. Either way, I figured this was a fairly good place to start and get myself introduced to this series. As far as I can tell, this is the first official release of Fire Emblem to the States, so it seemed like the best place to start. Anyways, because this is a retro game review, I'm going to do it a bit different. It's going to be, still opinion, obviously, but it's going to be based on kind of a rating system from 1 to 10, with it scoring points in each of these, anywhere from 0.5 or 1. The points that I'm giving it, or the points that'll be graded on, are visuals, music, gameplay and controls, how innovative it was, story, customization, its overall likability, its replayability, characters, and how good it was on the system. This was kind of just the best way I could figure to grade a retro game. So without further ado, here we go. Alright, starting with number 1, which is visuals. I rated this a 1. Gave it the full point on this because I felt like the battle scenes were really well done, better than some RPGs that are good still today. Even battling across that giant map was pretty cool looking. It even had some cheesy little cutscenes that helped to add to the story of the game. For number 2, which is music, I rated it a 1. I thought the music was pretty good for the Game Boy Advance. The Game Boy Advance doesn't really have a whole lot of games that have good or catchy music, but I liked the music in battle and whenever you're doing the stories and such. So I rated this a 1. Next, for number 3, which is gameplay and controls, I rated this at a 0.5 because there was lots of little annoyances within the game. Would have liked to have been able to buy items beforehand, especially since they break. And trying to find stuff on the map and buy it was pretty annoying. I get that they're trying to add some kind of level of realism, but realistically, you're not battling your entire life. You would have time to calm down and buy freaking weapons and stuff. Also, there were a few things in it that I just kind of found worthless. You could bring up a mini map and it would show you dots where the enemies were. I didn't really see a whole lot of point in that. And honestly, I would have liked a description of the item I was using while I'm able to use it. That would have been nice too. But overall, the gameplay and controls, they got a 0.5 because they weren't so infuriating that it took away from the game. It was just stuff I would prefer to see. And then moving on to number 4, we have innovation. There's already, I think, 4 or 5 Fire Emblem games in Japan whenever this one came to America. So nothing they were doing was necessarily new to the series, I don't think. I'm pretty sure the permadeath was in it from the start, and even permadeath itself, started in games a lot earlier than this. I think the first permadeath video game, for video games, I think it was Rogue, which was 85, I think. So yeah, nothing too innovative within the game. So I just gave it the point 5 because, like I said, it was something different, and it's different to a lot of the RPGs and on the Game Boy Advanced at least. So, okay, so for number 5 we have the story, and for the story I rated it a clear 1. Like, I really liked the story. It was pretty good, and I like how it starts off with, this it starts off with one character, and then you can complete her story, and then you go right into the fucking next story. Like, and the next story is significantly longer, and then eventually you meet back up with some of your old characters. So I mean, it has really good story in it. I liked it, and I rated it a 1. Also, one thing I want to say is that playing through the first part, I didn't think anything too big. Like, I was like, yeah, this is decent enough. But once you get to the next part of the story, like, the game gets brutally hard. Like, I lost so many fucking people. I don't even want to talk about it. It's embarrassing. Alright, so number 6 is customization, and for customization, I just gave it a 0.5. Because, I mean, I like how you're able to transform some of your units, and that adds a certain level of customization to it. But at the same time, whenever they're running around, they don't look any different from any of the other characters. Like, there's pretty much like maybe 6-7 character models, and everybody has that. The bad guys have it, you have it. So, for customization, I just gave it a 0.5. Because there was at least some level in there. Just, it wasn't as much as I kind of would have liked. I mean, I always love customization within games. That's a sign of a good game. Is how much you can change it to whatever you like. So for number 7, we have likability, and in case you haven't noticed, I definitely liked this game, so I gave it a straight 1. Moving on to 8, we have replayability, and I gave it a 1 because I feel like if you're traveling around and you just want to play some Fire Emblem, like, I can see playing this game again, because it is freaking brutally hard once you get to the next part of the story. But like once you pick up with the next main character, but at the same time, I think it's good enough to where you'd want to play again. For number 9, we have characters, and I gave this one a clear 1. I like a lot of the characters. I kind of liked all of your main 3, even though I believe Hector kind of was more of a pseudo main character than anything. But I liked him. He added to the story, and I do like the other 2 main characters a lot. Lindis was pretty cool, and it even has characters that, like, I fucking hated, because like I wanted to use them, I wanted them to be good, and they're just fucking worthless. Like the Pegasus Knight you get the very first. Hated her. She fucking died instantly every time. And then there was characters that I hated that actually ended up being pretty good. There's even one character. He's kind of like a nobody. Like they didn't even draw his freaking face. He's just got hair over his face, and he ended up being like one of my strongest freaking knights. So I definitely like the characters in the game. Alright, so for number 10, we have how good is it on that system? And so this came out on the Game Boy Advanced, and so to basically kind of determine how good it is on the system, I judge it against other RPGs. I mean, like I said, there's not really any other permadeath RPGs like this, but there was plenty more RPGs on the Game Boy Advance. It had quite an extensive library, and for that, I feel like there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot that I would rather play before I pick this one up again and replay it. So I gave it a 0.5. But at the same time, like I said, I like this game, so I definitely gave it the 0.5. And so now with our point system, we come up to a 8 out of 10. Yes, rating Fire Emblem for Game Boy Advance 2003, 8 out of 10. That was my video game review. Like I said, I liked the game, and I hope I can help you to determine whether or not you want to get the game, pick it up, and add to your retro collection. It has inspired me to get some more Fire Emblem games and try those out, so probably be seeing more of these. hope you enjoyed my first retro game review. Be sure to, like and comment, and, feel free to subscribe. I'd appreciate it for especially if you want some more of this. And, most importantly, don't forget to take care of yourselves.